Hi there, welcome to Terraland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Capricorn energy. And like usual, we're going to do 2 rows. The top row I'll refer to as high vibe Capricorn, the bottom row a more worldly, shadowy Capricorn energy, because we've all got our dualistic nature and free will, and we have to make decisions in life. And the bottom row can represent our more fearful nature, pride, ego, petty, envious, jealous, whatever. Or it can just represent we want to stay in our comfort zone. And the top row could represent how we do want to move forward in life differently. But again, because of our fears or something like that, we could be struggling to move forward in life differently. Because when we move forward in life differently, or we view life differently, or we decide to make some life-changing decision in our life, even if it's like, I'm not going to let my fear run my life, I'm not going to let my ego run my life. There might be other people in our life who don't like it. We might, because just like we have our dualistic nature of people to hang around with, we might quit hanging around with people who we were doing things with to hang around with people who are doing things differently, that we might feel is more aligned with our truth. And, so some people could be struggling. Some other people, they're either happy living their life the way they live it. Other people have moved on and are moving forward in life different. And we all move forward and view life differently at different times. We've wanted to move forward. Other people have wanted to move forward when they didn't, when we didn't. And so it's all kind of, when we heal, grow, or mature ourselves, or have more hope and faith and belief in our dreams than we did at different times, not everybody's on the same page. And for a lot of people, we wish them peace, they wish us peace. But it can be more challenging and difficult if there's someone in our life, say a longtime friend, or a family member, or a romantic relationship, and we really wanted them to move forward with us when we wanted to move forward, but, we're just not on the same page at the same time. Anyway, the truth sets us free. To deal with the truth, do we have the same dreams or motivations or whatever? Capricorn energy can be about what we view as being victorious and successful, or a legacy worth having. Some people think a legacy worth having, they make their life all about these things they indulge in, living the dream, or money or materialism or power is the most important thing. For other people, high vibe energy is being more balanced. Yes, I want these things of the world, but I also want to live my authentic life, to live a life that's aligned with my truth, to be in loving, authentic, supportive, encouraging relationships, not willing to sacrifice that for being about myself or these things of the world. And other people might be willing to sacrifice love, because some people didn't want to do love to begin with. You can get hurt doing love. So the reason for the top rose reading is the moon card. It's also the reason why the reading came out. So the moon card is Pisces energy. It has to do with how we view life. Do we have hope and faith and belief in love? Do we want to listen to our intuition, be more independent? Some people don't. And some people do have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, that they don't have to grow or heal or mature themselves or treat other people the way they like to be treated. Or they're more about indulging themselves. So because you either had fears and insecurities you had to work through, because the moon can talk about those things we have buried beneath the surface, you might have realized some of these things about things that kind of emotionally confused you. Because again, we come into contact with all these different people in the world to help us get clear about what our truth is and what our truth isn't. And in the moon card, we weren't really sure. So we come in contact with these different people. As time goes by, the reason for the bottom row, the end card in the bottom row's reading is the death card, which is holding that sword of truth, that I thought a way I was living my life, viewing life, I thought that was my truth. But as time has gone by, then we have the Empress and the Ten of Wands. I'm kind of ready to give birth to something new. And I'm ready to close out a cycle in my life, a way of living life, a way of viewing life, to move forward and have that brand new beginning. And I think loving people offer love and encouragement to the people in their life to move forward with them in that way. But we can't make other people work through their own fears, their own insecurities. If they are not ready to give birth to anything new, don't ever want to give birth to anything new, don't want to look at life any differently, then we just have to see the truth of it. And so in high vibe, the Pisces card of the moon can be that you're listening to your intuition. So then we have the star card. I have a dream. And if we have a dream, and if the way we've been living our life, we see our dream isn't coming into reality, living our life that way, high vibe people do this work within themselves to detach from harnessing this energy in a more shadowy way to harnessing it in a more high vibrational way. And they realize that there might be some people in their life who still harness this energy in a more worldly, shadowy way that they have to see the truth of. Their dream is different. What they find emotionally fulfilling is different. Their idea of the dream life is different. And high vibe people are willing to detach from those people because they see the truth. They're not on the same page. Oh, judgment. High vibe people are willing to hold themselves and other people accountable for their actions. And the reason why some people might not be moving forward with you is they're not willing to either call judgment on some things in their life that manipulate them or other people in their life. High vibe energy is about being more independent. That's also high vibe Pisces energy. And some people, whatever it is that manipulates them, they're not willing to become independent of it. So then we have the Ten of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, the Hierophant, the Six of Swords, and the Two of Cups. So, high vibe people have done this work, and they're doing this work to work through their mental confusion of the Seven of Swords. You know, I wanted this dream to come into reality, but my intuition is telling me it's not going to come into reality here. The way I've been living my life, this isn't going to work. I need to listen to my intuition. And they work through that mental confusion and all those things that manipulate them. In the Taurus Hierophant card, to walk the talk, I need to put into action and take the slow, steady steps forward to act on my truth. And then in the Six of Wands, it's doing this work to get out of your mental conflict or inner conflict. The Five of Swords in the Seven of Swords can talk about your mental conflict. The Five of Wands moves away from the Five of Wands, being in your ego, being up in your head, being more about the world, being caught up more in the worldly dream. Distancing yourself from people in your life who know that they're still really having a hard time. Detaching from being more about themselves for the world or caught up in the illusion of the world. And really acting more with character and integrity. And might be quite competitive in the world because the Six of Wands moves away from the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is Leo energy of just knowing people who are really kind of caught up in themselves, having a certain status or image. It really gets them up in their head. They have a hard time kind of detaching from making their life about that to be more inspired by love. The Two of Cups is Cancer energy, about like Pisces energy, having hope and faith and belief in love and listening to your intuition and love to guide the decisions you make versus more doing what's practical or logical in your mind or out of ego or image or fear or insecurity. So high vibe people have a dream of being in relationships with people who walk the talk. High vibe Leo, they're authentic, they're warm, they're loving, they're encouraging, they're inspiring. They're more motivated and inspired by love than ego and image. And the people you are moving forward with in your life, friends, family, coworkers, the people you invest most of your time and energy into are people who are inspired to work with you being authentic. Kind of high vibe Leo is also disciplining your more immature egoic nature, right? And you've already been in relationships and lived your life being more immature and self-indulgent, and you just don't want to do it anymore. You know, you're ready to give birth to something new. And even though in the Ten of Wands it can talk about being overwhelming, you're just not willing to go back and repeat an old pattern because you've already been there and you've done that. So what is the old pattern? The King of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, the Ten of Cups, and the Scorpio Death card. So we all grow up in the world, and we're all pretty much really inspired by the world and all these things. The Empress energy can talk about, well, for one, the feminine figures in tarot can talk about how we think and feel, and the masculine figures in tarot can talk about how we present ourselves in the world. We've all been more fired up about the world probably the first 30, 40 years of our life. There's all these things in the world that we want to manifest, and we kind of are defensive in the Knight of Swords to aligning with our more hopeful, believing, loving nature, because that requires us to detach. The Death card can talk about emotionally detaching from an old way of living life, to be more inspired, to get the justice we deserve, to walk the talk, to give birth to something new from love. And a hard lesson to learn in life is just to love ourselves. And so initially we're all kind of caught up in the world. We think that's our truth. That's what we think will make us happy. And we go pursue those things, and we're sure those things are going to make us happy. And then it doesn't turn out the way we want. And then, you know, you can be a loving person, and there's all these things you want to give birth to, but it's not working out the way you want. And so then, you know, we can try to change other people. We can communicate our truth to other people. The King of Pentacles can represent workplaces, the world at large. It can represent people in our family, people that we were dating, people we married, people we wanted to date, people we wanted to marry. We can tell other people the truth that, you know, I want justice and fairness. I want us to move forward in a more just and fair, because the Empress energy is Libra, represented by the scales of justice, and Taurus energy. But I want to move forward where we close out some old ways of being. You know, periodically in your life, you know, you live life a certain way and you view life a certain way. Are we willing to look at some of the things that maybe should go? And what are the good building blocks to take with us? But some people aren't ready to call judgment on some of those things that other people in our life, that they could still like to invest their time, energy, and effort into, that they make important. They could be more about themselves. They could be someone who likes to be shadowy Empress, can be someone who likes to be indulged in a relationship, whether they're male or female. They could be defensive to love. They don't want to give birth to anything new. They don't want to step out of their comfort zone. Over here at the end, we have the Three of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy. Shadowy Capricorn energy is represented by the Devil. In order to free ourselves from things that manipulate us, you know, we have to be inspired to even want to free ourselves from things that manipulate us. But in Capricorn energy, it does mean we have to put in work and effort. The Pentacles talk about investing time, energy, and effort to change, to heal, to grow, to call judgment on that more. If some people are more egotistical and self-centered, the Aquarius star can represent that. If some people are really still caught up in ego and image and money as a driving factor, it still is a driving factor in their life, or being about themselves, or these things they like to indulge in that they think are the answer to them being happy. And other people have already indulged in those things, and they realize in the death card there's nothing new to grow here. It's kind of like, we've done it, we invested in it, we did all of it, and it's not giving birth to anything new. Shadowy energy, and like the death card, can be stagnant. It doesn't grow, it doesn't change, it doesn't heal, it doesn't mature, it doesn't take action to move forward in life, to give birth to anything new. And some people don't want to do that, because if you're going to step out of your comfort zone, you're going into unknown territory. That's what the moon can represent. I want to stay here. I know how everything works here. If I go there, I've never been there before. I would have to get out of my fear and my insecurity, and I'd have to let love and intuition guide me. And some people don't want to do that. Why wouldn't I just stay where I'm at? Then I don't have to change. I don't have to face my fears. I don't have to give birth to anything new. The Ten of Wands is Sagittarius energy, about higher learning and education. I ain't got to do that. I don't got to free myself from anything that manipulates me. I don't have to change. The Death card in High Vibe is about transformation. I don't have to shed an old layer of myself or a way of viewing the world to give birth to anything new. I can just keep doing this. And that's what some people want to do. And there's some people that are defensive to love. I want to indulge myself in relationships. I want to be in relationships. I might, in shadowy Sagittarius, be kind of immature, like to indulge myself in a relationship. So I want to be in a relationship, but I don't want to have to change. And their idea, the dream life, could be, I should get in a relationship with someone who's loving and nurturing and warm, who's tempered their ego and their fear and their insecurities, and then I'll just try to create an illusion that that's who I am also. And I'll try to get them to let me move forward with them in a relationship, because it's great to hang out with people who are loving and warm and nurturing and authentic and have tempered their fears and insecurities, but that's not who I am. And you can get in relationships with people who are like that. They create an illusion, because high vibe energy and high vibe Leo doesn't mean anybody has to be these zodiac sun signs, but we all harness all these zodiac sign traits and characteristics in a more high vibe way, a more worldly way, or a more shadowy way. High vibe Taurus, high vibe Leo, high vibe Cancer, high vibe Pisces are people who are who they say they are. They're authentic. They're not trying to manipulate people. But if you're not being truthful and honest and authentic and who you say you are, you're trying to create an illusion about who you are so that people will move forward with you in a relationship. And some of you already got out of relationships with people who are like that. Some of those people are trying it again with someone new. And if they're trying it again with someone new, some of those relationships are ending. Because if they tried to get in a relationship with another high vibe person, you can present yourself. And I do view the King of Pentacles as Capricorn energy. You can present yourself, anyone can, male or female. Look at me, I wear this, I look like this, I act like this, I do these certain things in the world, I look like a pillar of society, I have a certain level of attractiveness or status or money or power. You should want to be in a relationship with me. You should want to date me, marry me, hire me, go into business with me. And so they try to present that they're this high vibe person. But they're actually defensive to love, defensive to change, defensive to giving birth to anything new. They just kind of want to indulge themselves in a relationship. Maybe because something else ended, because they feel overwhelmed, for ego, image, money, prideful reasons. I want to look like I've moved on. I want to look like I've had a new beginning. I want to look like I've changed. but they haven't changed. It's like people quitting a job, and then it's like to go to a new job and like, oh my gosh, my job's so wonderful. And the people at the old job are like, yeah, I'm just waiting to see how that new job works out because we know what you were like at the last job. And at the last job, you were not very just and fair. You did not walk the talk. It was overwhelming working with you. Shadowy Scorpio, they could have been intimidating, controlling. Other people, if it was a relationship, they're just more emotionally shallow and superficial. It is more for the ego and the image and the status. It's not really love. And other people could have put a lot of work and effort in to try to help them have hope and faith and belief in themselves or in love and hoping they would change one day. And eventually the high vibe people in their life realize, you know, I can't make someone else transform themselves or heal. I can't make someone get out of their more self-focused, image focus, ego focus, defensive focus, materialistic focus, self-indulgent focus, or heal from past pain and heartbreak. All I can do is offer truth and love and encouragement to people. And if I've done that and the other people keep moving forward the way they want to move forward, that's fine. They have free will to live their life the way they want. If I love myself, even though I could have love for them, and we've all known people in our life, whether they were siblings or parents or friends or people in our community, you know, I could wish that we had a more just, fair, balanced, stable relationship, but we don't. And so I'm going to let you live your life, doing life the way you want to do it. And I'm going to go try to find some of the people that are more on the same page as me. And not everybody's on the same page. Again, what drives and motivates you, what you find to be emotionally fulfilling or inspiring or fun is different, right? So another thing is sometimes shadowy people, it is all about creating this illusion. For some of you that could have detached from some other people, what some of those people don't know with this card not showing itself is that you have changed. You're not the same person you were before. You did this work within yourself to free yourself from your fears, your insecurities, things that manipulated you. And you did call judgment on yourself and other people, but they might not know it. And they could just think you're creating a better illusion than they are. Why do you seem to be moving forward so stable or grounded or victoriously or balanced or loving, and they just think you're creating a good illusion? What they don't know is this: authentically, you are motivated and inspired to walk the talk from love and listen to your intuition. But they could keep taking action more out of fear, insecurity, pride, ego, defensiveness, immaturity, trying to stop people from viewing you as loving. Because if some people, if all they have going for them is these more superficial things about them because they know that they're not loving and they maybe didn't move forward in a relationship with you, they want to try to confuse people about the truth of who you are. Because if you really are someone who believes in your dreams, puts in work and effort to be loving and encouraging and authentic in a relationship, why didn't they move forward with you? Well, they didn't move forward with you because you were transforming however you were when you first got in the relationship, and however you viewed life and viewed yourself and viewed the world. You kind of worked through some of those things that manipulated you, and you kind of set yourself free. And so you're moving forward in life differently. And in order for them to move forward with you in that way, it's like they can't just keep creating an illusion that they're like on the same page as you. You know, initially they can create that illusion, but as you keep growing, healing, and maturing yourself, you know, they just can't like fake the next level. And they didn't want to really give birth to anything new. It's like, I want to get in a relationship. I want to be kind of deceptive and manipulative. I like to live more from my mind than my heart. I want to maybe stay in the relationship because it's good for my ego and my image and my status, and this person is loving, but I'll only stay in it so long as they're willing to like indulge me in my more maybe stubborn way of being. If they really want me to give birth to anything new and detach from an old way of being, no. If they want me to become more independent from an old way of viewing life. Some people have people in their life defending this Ten of Cups. It can be just, people can view being in their more ego nature, defensive nature, as their, what will make them happy. And until they realize that living from their more egoic, defensive nature isn't getting them what they want, they're not going to change. And they might have to go through a few more life lessons in order to realize that. But they also might have people in their life, if that's a friend group or their original family group, that is the foundation is their primary foundation in their life that they're not willing to become more independent of. They can get married to other people and move forward with other people in a relationship, but it's kind of an illusion that they're more independent from that other group. That other group is their more primary foundation. And if the people in that group say, I don't want you to move forward with these people anymore, then they won't move forward with those people anymore. Even if you got married to them, even if you had children with them. Because those friends or their original family group manipulates them in that way. And they can look like they're very independent, but they're not really. And they have people in their life, if it's not just within themselves, which can be their more indulging their more immature nature, but they could also have other people in their life who are willing to indulge them in their more immature nature, or those people aren't willing to move forward in life differently. And if those people aren't willing to move forward in life differently, these people really have a mental conflict about detaching from that foundation. And the Ten of Pentacles in shadow, can be like an unbudging foundation. Unwilling, again, to give birth to anything new. You have to be willing to be a student of life. You have to deal with some issues. You got to deal with some of your fears, your insecurities. You have to be inspired to want to detach, to just create your own authentic life. And some people aren't willing to do that, even though it's overwhelming. It's like as if some people in their life laid down this template. That's what the Taurus energy can be. Nope, you're supposed to live life like this. You're supposed to do life like this. You're supposed to act like this. And they could have had people in their life that didn't encourage them to love and believe in themselves and be more creative and inspired and listen to their intuition and go fly. Spread their wings and fly to go live their own life. No, no, no. You're supposed to do life like this. And so for people who could have been brought up in families like that, they really have a lot of mental conflict about living their more authentic life, being more independent in the world, not making their life conforming to these unwritten rules and like regulations or something of the world in their mind, to give birth to anything new. It's like, it might be really overwhelming, but I have a lot of mental conflict about seeing the truth of it. Because, from the 7 to the 1 sword is the 6 of swords, which is Aquarius energy. I was brought up to view life a certain way. That was my philosophy of life. The people in my family, in my community, in my state, in my country, that's how they view life. And I was brought up that that's how I'm supposed to view life. And that's how I'm supposed to live my life. And if I do that, I will look victorious and successful in the world. But it can just be people, they're just so caught up in the illusion of the world. They're just not living their authentic life. And So they're probably going to keep moving forward, not giving birth to anything new. Either one, because that takes too much work and effort. They would have to work through their mental conflict to get to the truth, to free themselves. And until they're ready to do that, they're not going to do that. And some people, if other people see through the illusion of who they are, and you no longer buy into the illusion because you've known them long enough that it's like, you present yourself as being someone who's emotionally mature. That would be high vibe Capricorn. You have learned lessons in life. You're not bossy, controlling, immature, prideful, egotistical, self-centered, petty, envious, jealous, blah, blah, blah. You've learned lessons in life. That's how some people, they like to view themselves that way, but they don't really walk the talk. They think, if I just create the illusion and I have this certain status or image or looks or power or money or whatever I got, I think I don't have to do that stuff. I don't really have to free myself from my more worldly, kind of immature, self-indulgent, materialistic nature. I'll just create an illusion that I am more someone who walks the talk, that there's more substance, that I really have learned these things than I really have. And eventually other people, Leo energy also represented by the sun, other people have been illuminated to the truth and other people moved on. Because they realize what drives and motivates these people. It's more to get in the relationship for reasons other than love. And to stay in the relationship for other than love. And because they have a certain status and image, if you see through the illusion, and how dare you want them to hold themselves accountable and really grow and mature themselves. They have this certain status and image or money or looks. They'll just go find someone else to get in a relationship with. And you said, that's fine, because I found out I didn't like it. So you go find someone else, and some of those people are putting a lot of work and effort into trying to get someone else to get in a relationship with them and stay in a relationship with them, defensive to loving themselves, even if those people are overwhelmed. They don't care if the other people are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed maybe too, but they're unwilling to see through the illusion to really go live their authentic life. So, what's coming up for people who do harness high vibe Capricorn energy, who have freed themselves from things that manipulate them? Some of you could be in new jobs or relationships that you're moving forward victoriously. Some of you are, needless, the people in your life are people that you think are inspired by love. Some of you could be in new relationships, romantic relationships, but regardless, you're moving forward listening to your intuition. What you don't see coming up is the Six of Swords. Why? Because of the King of Swords. So again, the King of Swords is Libra energy, represented by the scales of justice, maintaining balance within yourself so you're not indulging poor behavior in yourself or in others, because if you you've already been there and done that, and you're not going to give birth to something new if you do that. So you're maintaining balance, and in the Six of Swords, you're staying focused on looking at life from the bigger perspective, having hope and faith and belief in your dreams. When you do get tempted maybe to get up in your head, because of these lessons you've learned, it stops you from repeating an old pattern, and you keep walking the talk and moving forward, believing the divine has a plan for your life. And I think your dreams are going to come into reality. You'll have very solid, stable, authentic, loving relationships with people because you're listening to your intuition to guide you, which could have been a valuable lesson you learned during this life experience. Because how many times when we were younger, did our intuition try to tell us, I don't think you should do that. I don't think that's a good idea. But we went and did it anyway. And then we do that enough times and it's like, oh, I guess my intuition was given to me as a gift, just like bats have sonar to navigate in the dark. And my intuition isn't yapping in my ear all the time, but it definitely pipes up sometimes where it's kind of like in my head, I should go home. This isn't a good idea. This is going to lead to nothing but trouble. But we used to go do it, and now it's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And we don't have pages out here, but it could have been we were just in more codependent energy, looking for other people to love us because we hadn't learned to love ourselves. And when we got inspired, because what we were doing wasn't working, that high vibe Aquarius energy, again, putting things in perspective to heal from past pain and heartbreak, realizing everybody kind of deals with this stuff and different people in our life. Some are going to be more just, fair, loving, authentic, and warm because they freed themselves from things that manipulated them. Other people didn't. We put it in perspective. We do the work to free ourselves so we don't keep being manipulated and we're kind of in more shadowy energy. And we free ourselves to be inspired to believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams and not give up on them. And there's other people in our life who, when you decided to change and you wanted to move forward in a more inspired, just, and fair relationship of your dreams, some of those people decided to quit offering you love, hoping you'd feel overwhelmed. And because you had viewed them as a loving, stable, grounded person that you wanted this dream to come into reality with, it really confused you. Why are they acting like this? And you had to work through that mental confusion to get to the truth. People who are loving don't try to manipulate me. People who are loving and love me treat me in a just and fair manner. People who love me want me to love and believe in myself. But there's some people who want to be in a relationship with you. They just don't want you to really love and believe in yourself and believe in your dreams. They had a way of viewing life and they wanted you to stay within the comfort zone of what they view as being like happy. And so you were supposed to be happy in that environment too. And you're like, I can be happy with you, but I also want to move forward and live my more authentic life. And they're like, well, we don't do that. We kind of make our life more about the world, and you're kind of shining your light and living your life more authentically, and you're like speaking the truth and wanting justice and fairness, and we kind of don't require that, and we kind of keep indulging people in their poor behavior. And if I have people in my life that I defend, even if they're intimidating and controlling and overwhelming, you're supposed to let them manipulate you too. And it's like, but they don't manipulate me, they only manipulate you. So, if you want to let those things or those people keep manipulating you, I'm going to stand up for truth and justice. And until you do, then I guess you're going to keep moving forward being overwhelmed. And I'm going to free myself. And I'm going to speak the truth. And if you don't want to speak the truth and stand up for love and transforming yourself and getting the justice you deserve, and you keep letting the world or your immature nature or your bossy nature or your lustful nature or other people in your life keep manipulating you, and then you keep moving on like that. But I'm going to go get the justice I deserve with people who have put life in perspective to be willing to speak their truth. So, and that's the kind of people you're moving forward with. What about people who harness a more worldly, shadowy energy? The Ace of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Two of Pentacles. God always offers people love, and high vibe people offer people love to try in Two of Pentacles, which is also Capricorn energy, to get more balance within themselves, to pick up their investment in the past or their more worldly, shadowy nature, to get more balanced. Again, the King of Swords is about balance. I have to see the truth. I do have my more about me, more about the world nature. But if I want to work together with other people who are inspired by love, it can't just be all about me and me being defensive. And if I'm going to get in a relationship with someone who they're the person I want to create a life with going forward, well, then those people have to be my primary foundation. Instead of letting my friend group or my original family group, everything in our life has its place and its time. And it's not like you don't hang out with your friends and you don't love your family, but you don't let your friends and your family try to manipulate you to make you juggle the people that you want to have a dream come into reality with. So high vibe people, some of these shadowy people have high vibe people in their life that are wanting to move forward with them in relationships, but in a more balanced way. And they keep refusing to do that. Nope. I'm defensive to love. I get hurt doing love. I indulge my more immature worldly nature. And if you're not willing to indulge me in my more immature worldly nature, then you can go. And eventually, the people who might end up staying in a relationship with them could be people who kind of harness a more worldly, shadowy Capricorn energy. The thing is, in our dualistic nature, we have to pick a path. Some people have picked love, some people have picked the world, and then there's some people who haven't decided yet. And they're still kind of going back and forth. I don't know if I want to do love. I don't know if I want to be more about the world or more about me. And maybe some of these people haven't decided yet. And then if they get in a relationship with someone who's more like themselves, that would be a more just and fair relationship. What's unjust is for them to try to stop more just and fair and inspired loving people from living the life of their dreams because they want to indulge in a relationship with them and have them like trapped, It's like, no, you should get in a relationship with someone else who's kind of going back and forth. But the whole thing is, if people are in more shadowy energy and they don't really want to do love, if they do get in a relationship with someone who's more like themselves, well, why are those people in the relationship? Love and truth is what builds a solid foundation. But if people are getting in relationships because, well, I'm mad that that other person ended a relationship with me. I want to get in a relationship because I feel overwhelmed. I want to get in a relationship to try to stop that other person from moving forward. Shadowy energy can be about manipulation. Or I'm just trying to feel balanced within myself because I feel overwhelmed and I want to get in a relationship with someone just to make me feel more balanced. And then once I feel more balanced, then I'll move forward in life differently. High vibe people don't want to be in a relationship with people who are juggling, because if they're juggling, well, if someone else comes along that has more status, more image, more power, more influence, more attractive, more willing to indulge them, well, then they'd leave to go get in a relationship with that person because it wasn't based on truth and love anyway. And if they keep kind of planting bad seeds, I don't think it's going to work out well. If they are more motivated by money or status or image, they might have people willing to stay in a relationship and balance, to try to work to have balance in the relationship, but they also might be more motivated because of the money or the status or the image. So you can see different people moving forward in the world. Some people are acting with character and integrity and truth and love and being authentic. And other people look like those types of people, but really it's just to get in a relationship because maybe the right person hasn't come along. Well, then what if the right person does come along and then they'd have to end the relationship they're in, and they're really overwhelmed about ending the relationship they're in because they would have to speak their truth that, maybe this wasn't everything I thought it was cracked up to be. Maybe I was just kind of juggling. Maybe I was kind of being deceptive and manipulative. Maybe I was just kind of indulging myself in a relationship. And then the fact is that we're emotionally complex human beings. We kind of get entangled up in people. I think high vibe people are like, I don't want to get tangled up in people if they're not the right people for me. I don't want to create an illusion. I don't want to get in a relationship just because I feel kind of overwhelmed or to make me feel better. I don't want to look to a relationship like I do maybe drugs or alcohol. You know, I can be friends with people. I can have my friends or family or lots of other things I like to do in my life to keep me focused. But some people keep putting an end to giving birth to anything new because they get overwhelmed by their sexual nature, their ego, their want to move forward in something, but then they get themselves in things that aren't really aligned with their truth. And, you know, it's just such a bother to have to get out of a relationship too. You know, you hate to hurt people. And if some people have been in a relationship where they felt overwhelmed, and some people have been defensive and they've been the one trying to bring a dream into reality, you know, it's to adhere to a higher truth and justice. I can, again, offer love and encouragement to people, but if other people are defensive to change, I have to love myself, offer them love to balance things out with me. If they're not willing to, then I'm going to see the truth, because the Ace of Pentacles can represent the truth. From the 2 to the 3, I'm going to see the truth that they're not motivated to move forward with me in this way. And then from the 3 to the 7 is taking back the 7 of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy of I was invested in something, but I don't feel like they work with me cooperatively in a more insightful, nurturing, loving way. And though they have some mental conflict about it, they're going to do the work to free themselves, to stand in their truth. And then, you know, it kind of leaves it open for the other people. What are you going to do? And sadly, you know, you kind of see the truth of how some people act. Well, I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go indulge in that, and I'm not going to tell the truth, and I'm going to create an illusion, or I'm going to get all up in my head, or my fear, or my ego. And, you know, all of that just helps you more clearly see the truth of who is more on the same page and who is not. So there you go, Capricorn. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.